What is up, my beautiful people? Hope you're all having a terrific day. Exile451 here with you for another daily dose of Reddit Happy. Got something new I'm doing today, so please let me know what you think in the comments after the video, but for now, I'm calling it Humans of Reddit. I've been really excited to share the story with you guys, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. So, for some context here, while I was going through my usual video prep, I came across this post right here on your screen and thought this would be a great one to add. But as I was about to message the OP, a thought occurred to me that there's got to be a lot more to this story than just this one post. So after messaging back and forth for a little bit, he was kind enough to give me some more information, and with his permission, I'm sharing his story in the hopes that you guys will find it inspiring and give you hope for someone you know who might be struggling right now. Now, this is going to be slightly different than usual because I will be asking a question and then be narrating his response. So please bear with me, it's the first time I've done this, but I hope you enjoy it. What was your life like up until you realized you had a problem? What was the catalyst that led to you getting involved in drugs in the first place? How long were you an addict, and is there anything you did during that time that you particularly regret? I can't blame anyone but myself for what I did, but if I had to determine the specific domino that triggered this chain of events, I would say it started with a girl. She was toxic and fiercely intelligent, with a desire to use everyone she came across. She would use psychology to manipulate me into believing her when she would lie about cheating on me. She got to know me very well, and she turned my demons against me on purpose. Why? It seems like she only wanted to hurt me as bad as someone had hurt her. It was a cycle of brokenness, and I just happened to be an unlucky victim in what I assume was a long chain of dysfunction. I'm convinced she had little or no empathy, and I would probably classify her as a sociopath. She did everything she could to completely destroy me as a person. And I let her. And I live with the consequences of it to this day. At the time, I was already curious and experimenting, but I invested a lot more than I should have in her, and it bit me in the rear. After she broke my heart, I kinda just gave in to mindless self-indulgence, and I let it consume me. I started with synthetic cannabinoids, and then after a few months, I started using bath salts too. The smoke shop that I was getting them from would even front the bags out to people. Meth really didn't seem like a big deal after doing that for nearly a year. I would spend every waking hour blitzed out of my mind. When I wasn't high, I was spending my entire paycheck on meth or stealing something to support my habit. I was cruel and selfish. I cared only about myself at this point, and I said things that most people would consider unforgivable. I stole and pawned priceless jewelry, took money, phones, movies, anything I could sell for a quick buck. The entire thing lasted for only 2 to 3 years, but that was enough time to ruin all my friendships and lose the respect of my family members. What made you want to get clean? Was it a sudden realization, or did you gradually realize the path you were on wasn't going to make you a better person? Is there anyone from this time period that sticks out either for good or ill in your recovery process, and if so, why? I met a few people who let me couch surf or helped me eat. I had one particular friend who let me store what little belongings I had left in his car and gave me rides whenever he could, but he was high on meth too. After living on the streets all summer one year, my dad asked me to come home, and so I went back, but I still didn't change. He moved out a few months later and wouldn't take me with him. I faced homelessness a second time, but this time in the dead of winter. I won't tell you where exactly I was, other than that it was a state where the winters aren't terribly harsh or filled with snow, but the humidity makes them incredibly frigid. After a few nights of freezing my butt off, I finally called my mom and asked for help. At this point, I was skin and bones. I looked like a walking corpse. She and my other family members offered to put me in a live-in rehab facility that lasted 12 months. I didn't even stay. I left after only a week to go back to my habit. After living another few weeks on the streets, my grandparents took me in and I still didn't change. I burned that bridge too, and faced with absolutely nothing, I decided I hated my life and I hated who I had become. Despite hating my life though, suicide just wasn't an option. Sure, it had crossed my mind once or twice, but I'm not a quitter. Deep down, there is a part of me that won't ever give up. By this point though, I was tired of struggling for my next meal. My dad was being relocated for work, and I guess he didn't want to move alone, so he offered me a way out of my situation, and I took it. I moved to Texas at the beginning of 2012. Apart from being clean for 10 years at this point, where have you come to now? What steps have you taken to get there? How hard has the journey been, and what has it cost you? If I hadn't moved to Texas to remove myself from the temptation, I would have never met my wife. We met online after the fact, and she's truly my best friend. She's never cared about my past, only my future. And she holds me accountable for everything that I do. I moved back home in 2017 with my wife and son to be welcomed back with open arms by my family. It took a few years, but we finally got stabilized with a new house. It's taken years of hard work, but I've earned the trust of my family members back. Now my son is 3, and I have a daughter who's almost 1. Most all the people I used to run with either moved away or went to jail. This addiction was one of the toughest trials I have ever faced, and it ended up costing me years of my life that I will never get back. But I made it. What do you think your future looks like now? Do you have any advice for others who may be going through trials similar to yours? My future looks bright. I'm excited to see what life has in store for me, but I'm not in a rush by any means. For now, we rent a house, but in a few years, I think we will be ready to buy one, which is a pretty big deal. Everything hasn't always worked out for me, but I have stayed the course through thick and thin, and it has paid off and is continuing to pay off. The cravings still come occasionally, but now it's a lot like jonesing for a cigarette. It's a fleeting moment of desire and nothing more. The thing about addiction is that it affects the mind more than anything. It alters the brain chemistry. The golden rule has always been mind over matter. Maybe this isn't the case for every person, but I will not go back to that, no matter how many cravings. I have so much more to lose than I did before. I can't even entertain the thought, so I don't. If someone were to ask me for advice, I would tell them to remove themselves from temptation. Whether that be something like physically moving yourself far away from your connections for however long it takes, or something as simple as deleting the drug dealer's phone number or changing your own phone number. You have to actively choose to be better. You have to want to be better, and you never have to do it alone. With the right support and enough determination, anyone can win the war with addiction. Just take it one day at a time. That's not a story I feel I could personally do justice with by my own personal commentary about it, other than to say that it is truly a wonderful redemption story and proves that anything is possible. Meth is an insanely difficult addiction that I've seen destroy people I've cared about deeply. So to beat an addiction like that is nothing short of amazing, and should give hope to anyone else who feels trapped in their own struggles right now. There's always hope. You're never worthless, and your future can be bright again, just like his. Don't let addiction win. You can do this. If you guys want to see more of these, let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to do them. These sort of stories are really incredible, and I love narrating them. Thank you all so much for watching today. I hope you guys enjoyed that special video as much as I enjoyed doing all of the work for it. I truly appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend it here supporting the channel. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Now go have an awesome day. I'll see you all tomorrow. Until then, I'm Exile451. Stay beautiful, people.